introduce Jannie Isaacs, our special guest speaker today. Now, he's no stranger to ASSET, having served on the board for over a decade. Is it 13 years?
I think so.
I think it's 13 years, I wasn't quite sure. Okay, so Jannie came to us highly skilled, highly qualified with a master's in business administration, specializing in governance and particularly in the governance of NPAs. So he was able to guide us as the governance of NGOs became more formal through various commissions and various regulations. And when it started, it was just a group of like-minded people, mostly associated with UCT, who got things going. But the end footing on which NGOs have to operate changed substantially over the years, and Jannie has guided us through this, and in many instances he's had to lead us through this. He's had to take on tasks that have been arduous, difficult, sometimes tricky, in order to demonstrate to us not just the values and principles of good governance, but what good practice means, and that good practice means applying those principles of accountability, of transparency. I don't want to talk too much. Jannie's going to talk himself, but his mantra has always been, attitude is everything. And the more you think about that, attitude is everything. It's what all the learners have been saying here today. It's their attitude that has got them where they are. Yes, and hard work comes from an attitude. So attitude is everything. Jannie, you have the floor.
Asked to use these boxes because I'm so used to using a lectern and to speak to people. I must compliment the executive director, the staff, and all of the beneficiaries, including the students present here today. I learned about robotics, no, not robotics, I learned about hydraulics late in my life. You've started to expose yourself to these fields. To our sister whose birthday it is today, let's talk afterwards. I assisted a big corporate with the establishment of a youth center in Mopeni. And I've also guided a young man by the name of Ndu Menzi, and you can Google Wahumbe, a youth center in Santukau. He has been bestowed various accolades. Busi knows him very well in terms of your proposed project.
And you got a silver medal in the Congress.
He's come from fifth medal. Apart from the book he wrote, Conquering Spirit. So, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I must say from the outset, I've said to Busi, I've been told, having to prepare for this address, we are dealing with a range of people, from learned academics to scholars to, and all of those. So where do you start and what do you say? To the director, the chairperson of the board, and all protocol observed, thank you very much for extending this invitation to address you on this, the 20th AGM of ASSET. As you've heard, I've decided to step down from the board. I believe it's time that I should hand over the baton to some younger people, and that I should scale down on my involvements in my activities as well. Against that background, I want to thank the chairperson, the members of the board, the executive director, and the staff for affording me this opportunity to be of service to you. Thank you for all those interactions, those long phone calls, and my wife is saying, Anne called, you must call her back. And I've learned from you as much as you've learned from me. I've always been inspired by the work of ASSET, and that is why I've been continuing in serving you. ASSET provides for a particular need in our communities and in our schools. I trust that ASSET will continue to grow from strength to strength, and thereby making a difference in the lives of our people. I want to leave you with this cliche saying that may your dreams be larger than mountains, and may you have the courage to scale their summits. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this is the graveyard session of an AGM, and it's not the most interesting part of it. I want to share with you a few thoughts this afternoon. I grew up on a farm halfway between Colesberg and Nulpur. I don't know whether there's many people that knows where that is, in the middle of the Karoo. About 500 meters from our house was a mountain. Not a very high mountain, but certainly not a hill. As a child, I was always found to be, this mountain seems to be inviting me. And it wasn't long that we secretly climbed the mountain. Now, mountains have been instrumental from the creation. And in some way or another, all of us have got some experiences and or some sentiments around mountains. And having flown regularly from Johannesburg to Cape Town, I sometimes had the opportunity when the plane was descending from the north to watch people's expressions when they see Table Mountain. And in more than one occasion, some people became emotional by the mere sight of the mountain. I would think that most probably, it could be somebody that has been away from home for quite some time. And when they see the mountain, they know, I am home. Today, I would like to talk to you about the mountain. The mountains in our lives, the challenges that one faces, but more specifically, the joy of standing on the mountain. What it takes to get to the top, but also the implications of it. What are the lessons of life that we learn as we climb the mountain? I would like to refer to the symbolism of the mountains in our lives, the experiences and the lessons that one can take from it. Life is like a mountain that we must climb. There's a quest, an inherent desire, and an urgency to reach the top of the mountain, the highest spot on the ladder of life. We set ourselves these goals, and each stepping stone along the way represents the fulfillment of that goal. In the beginning, the climb, such as life, may be a long, difficult one, but each climb, reaching of each resting point, gets us closer to where we want to be, get us closer to our goal. After much blood, sweat, and sometimes tears, we would reach the summit and enjoy the satisfaction of our achievement, and we can say, I have done it. Along the way, however, and en route, we will learn certain valuable lessons. We have choices. We could stay in the valley, like everybody else, or we could make a conscious decision that it's too crowded in the valley, and we're going to ascend the mountain. There's not enough space in the valley. It's crowded. We learn to know that hope is born in the valleys, not on the tops of mountains. It is in the valley where you can look at the majesty of the mountain, where you are looking at the heights and the peaks that you are yet to climb. And then one day you see somebody up there and you realize that the man on the top of the mountain didn't fall there. People are not born successful. In most instances, one must work, and you must work very hard to get to the top. Our elders would tell us, where there is a hill to be climbed, don't think that the hill or the mountain will become smaller. Don't look for a way around it. You must go to the mountain, one goal at a time, one step at a time. There's a saying that says that the escalator to success in life is out of order. We are compelled to use the stairs, one step at a time. There is no cable car that would take you to the top of the mountain. You must climb it, one step at a time. In our quest to get to the top, we unconsciously learn several valuable lessons. One of the things that you learn very quickly is that you have to travel light. Mountaineers, everything that you take along, you will have to carry. Mountaineers don't carry bricks. We are not supposed to carry the mountain. We are only supposed to climb it. So, what do we learn? We learn to travel light. Shouldn't we do that in our life as well? Sometimes we carry a lot of baggage along with us. Things that happened long time ago that tire us and drains our souls. We should remember what Muhammad Ali once said. He said, it's not the mountain ahead to climb that wears you down. It's the pebble, it's the pebble in the shoe. Because the longer that pebble is there, the bigger it becomes. Climbing a mountain is not always a solo journey. Very often it's a team, like you are a team, that would embark on it. And you would share leadership. You'll encourage and support one another. And you'll learn from one another. And you'll stay beside one another, regardless of the differences that you might have. Very often we don't want to be part of a team. We want to rely on our own set of capabilities and our strengths, just to discover that there is strength in unity. We should also expect that there would be obstacles along the way. There will be challenges. Some of us may even contemplate to turn back to the valley where we are comfortable. But we may also learn to stay focused. When everything feels like an uphill struggle, just think of the view from the top. The best view comes after the hardest climb. The sweetest success comes after the hardest battle. Sir Edmund Hillary, the first man to conquer Everest, once said, it's not the mountain that we conquer, it is ourselves. Soon we realize what Barry Finlay meant when he said, every mountain top is within reach if you just keep on climbing. Mountaineers will tell you that the best time to scale the mountain or the summit is early morning. So you'd find that during the course of the afternoon and early evening, preparation is made to conquer the summit. And midway in the early mornings, you'll find that you will strike. Bearing in mind that you may not have a second chance, you have to be successful first time, weather permitting. Sometimes, halfway through the night, the onslaught may happen to scale the summit. Everything is executed with surgical precision. So, we've scaled the summit. We've reached our goal. The excitement is overwhelming, and so is the pain and the suffering. Very often tears of joy and tears of pain will join hands in order to celebrate the achievement. And then we realize by standing on the summit that everything makes sense on the summit. Everything is quiet. Everything is peaceful. It's just you, your thoughts, and Mother Nature. If you look down, you see the valley, and you see how busy it is and how noisy it is in the valley. But soon we could realize that it's wonderful to stand on the mountain. It has its own advantages and a range of challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, to stand on the mountain is a privilege. It is not everyone that is privileged to do so. Many have tried it, but only a few succeeded. We look down into the valley and we realize that it's sheer grace that has brought us where we are. We look at the beauty of the surroundings and we realize how privileged we are. Many have tried to scale the mountain, and we are part of a selected few. But we should not take the mountain for granted. It has been there before us, and it will be there after us. Soon we realize that we didn't get there on our own. And John C. Maxwell, in one of his books, The Undisputed Law of Teamwork, writes about the law of Everest. And the law of Everest says that when you stand on Everest, remember the people that lies along the slopes that brought you there. You couldn't get there alone. So, those of us who are studying and those who are intending to study, that one day when you cross that stage to receive your qualification, you remember Auntie Sophie at the end of the street, who used to stop you and inquired about your studies. You remember the uncle at the shop who regularly inquired about your well-being. Your grandmother who took such a keen interest in you. They, together with your parents, are the people that brought you where you are today. To stand on the mountain gives you the right to say to the world, I've done it. I've scaled the mountain. You have that undisputed right to claim your own space and to claim your success and to claim your victory. Everyone knows it, and everyone acknowledges that you are entitled to that right. We are the undisputed owner of that right to say that we have done it. I've scaled the mountain. I'm on top of the mountain. I've done it. We should just remember that very often we could be the first one in our family to earn the stripes. We could be first one in our community who's been classified as the first generation of post-school graduates. Be mindful, however, that you are not the first one to do it. Many have done it before you, and many will do it after you. Your parents, they have done it. They might not have climbed the same mountain that you have climbed. Me and you have earned a post-school qualification and or a degree. No, they might not have attended a school nor a tertiary institution. However, they attended what they call the School of Hard Knocks, and they attended and graduated from the College of Knowledge, and they majored in subjects such as common sense and wisdom. With every right comes a responsibility. The privilege that you've had to stand bestowed to bring along a set of responsibilities. If we are willing to claim the rights, we must accept the responsibilities that come with it. We've climbed the mountain, we've scaled the summit, and in the process of doing so, we've learned some valuable lessons. The question that we have to ask ourselves today is, what are the lessons that we have learned on the mountain? What is it that we are bringing down to the people? Moses brought the 10 Commandments from the mountain and he shared it with the people. What is it that me and you have to share with the people? Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most important lessons that one learns in standing on the mountain is that you didn't get there on your own, as we said earlier. The mountain teaches us to be humble. If one hasn't learned the attribute of humbleness, then the mountain that you've scaled wasn't high enough. Years ago, I invited Sibusiso Vulani, the first black to scale Everest, to address the students at a certificate ceremony. What a humble man. After meeting him in 2003 or 2004, I think, he scaled the summit of Everest for a second time, this time from the Tibet side. Last month, on the 26th of May 2023, he was back at base camp to celebrate 20 years since the first time that he scaled Everest. What was remarkable once again was his humbleness. There he was, recognizing and honoring the late John Doble, the man who discovered and supported him. Once again, showing character. After meeting Sibusiso, I realized that you must be humble if you want to reach such heights. For the mountain could bring you down on your knees. This season alone, 12 climbers have already died on Everest, and 5 is missing. We however, can't stay on the mountain. Whilst the scenery is beautiful and the views are fantastic, there is no growth there. The science people will tell us that the soil is not fertile. The best soil is down in the valley. Very often, there are more rocks at the summit. Everybody wants to reach the peak, but there is no growth on the top of the mountain. It is in the valley that we slog through the lush grass and rich soil, learning and becoming what it enables us to summit life's next peak. Mountaineers that scale Mount Everest on average stays between 5 and 10 minutes on the summit, not longer than that. To have scaled the summit of the mountain is one mission. For the descent is equally dangerous. Many have made it to the top, but some didn't make it down. They didn't live to tell their story. So, whilst we embrace the beauty of the summit and with our surroundings, we realize that we can't stay there. As leaders in our educational fraternity, there is not much to do on the mountain. The real work is in the valley. That is where we should be. Whilst at a personal, professional and institutional level, we could be excited about our achievements and what we've heard in terms of our accomplishments. We are delighted about our surroundings and the beauty thereof. We must be reminded ourselves that for every right comes the responsibility, and with every responsibility comes an obligation. Mountain tops inspire leaders, but valleys mature them. Our maturity will be derived from our tasks and laboring in the valley. So today we've gathered here to listen to the achievements and the accomplishments of not only assets, but also our beneficiaries and our learners, rightfully saying to ourselves and to others, we have made it, we have done it, we have scaled the summit. Let us remind ourselves that it is good to be at the top. The view is fantastic. There is always room for more. It is not as crowded as it is in the valley. The air is clear, the scenery is breathtaking, and we can even see the people in the valley. We have, however, been warned that we cannot stay on the mountain. We must come down to the valley. It's a startling realization. And we soon realize that we have climbed the mountain not so that the people in the valley can see us, but so that we can see the people in the valley. This is the challenge for each one of us present here today. As we are celebrating these achievements of the year, we are standing on the mountain. It is not for our beneficiaries and our sponsors to see the wonderful work that we are doing, but it's for us to see what the needs are in our schools and in our communities. Our primary responsibility and obligation are to encourage and motivate our institutions, our learners, and our recipients of bursaries. We must motivate them to climb the mountain. We must prepare them for the journey up the mountain. And once we have done that, we will celebrate the achievements like we do today. Let us be reminded, however, that when we are above, we know what it is below. But when we are below, we don't know what it is above. One climbs, one sees. One descends, one sees no longer, but one has seen. The man on top of the mountain didn't fall there. Mountains don't go away. They wait, for me and you to take them on. The excitement starts, the battle begins, and the struggle continues. It was Ledun who once said, "To wish a life without stairs, without hills and mountains, is to wish a dim life without the joy of rising with our own efforts." Let me remind you that we climb mountains not so that the world can see us, but so that we can see the world. So, in closing, let me remind you what our former president and father of the nation, Nelson Mandela, once said, and I've adapted it for this theme, when he said, "I have walked that long road to freedom. I've tried not to falter. I've made missteps along the way, but I've discovered the secret that after climbing a great mountain, one only finds there are more mountains to climb. I've taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista and surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I can only rest for a moment, for with freedom comes responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not ended." To the chairperson, the board, the executive director, and the staff, and everybody present here today, I would like to say to you, may your dreams be larger than the mountains, and may you have the courage to scale them. I thank you.